You didn't click this by accident. Some part of you knows the real risk isn't failing. It's waking up one day and realizing you lived someone else's life. Not all at once, but piece by piece, through every silent compromise, every truth you swallow to fit in, every time you trade authenticity for approval. Until one day, you don't even recognize the person in the mirror. That's not fate, that's a pattern. And Nietzsche saw it coming. Behind his rage, behind his radical honesty, there's a message you'll either learn now or suffer later. If you're here, there's still time. No one taught you how to think, only how to obey. From the moment we're born, we're trained to conform. Raise your hand, sit still, memorize, repeat. Rarely are we asked, what do you think? Only, can you repeat what you've been told? And the worst part is, we're rewarded for it. Nietzsche called this the death of the individual spirit. The crowd doesn't want you to think, it wants you to agree. So most of us become experts at mimicking success, following rules, doing what's expected, but we lose the courage to question. When you lose that, you don't just lose your freedom, you lose yourself. Real thinking is dangerous. It threatens systems. Nietzsche saw it clearly. A life without independent thought isn't a life. It's a performance in someone else's story. By the time most people realize they never truly thought for themselves, they're already too deep in a life they didn't choose. Think about your own life for a moment. How many of your beliefs are truly yours? How many are hand-me-downs, inherited from parents, teachers, or the culture around you? Most people never stop to ask. They just keep moving, doing what's expected, hoping that if they follow the script closely enough, happiness will follow. But scripts were written for the masses, not for the individual. Nietzsche believed that the moment you start to question, you start to live. Most people want comfort more than truth. Show most people the truth, and they won't thank you. They'll reject you. Comfort is addictive, warm, familiar, predictable. But the truth is often cold, ugly, and inconvenient. Nietzsche called this out in every era. People pretend to love truth, but really, they just want reassurance. They surround themselves with easy answers, feel-good slogans, groupthink opinions, not because they're evil, but because they're afraid. The truth doesn't care if you're afraid. It doesn't soften itself for your feelings. It just is. Most people can't handle that, so they choose ignorance, distraction, and fantasy, until truth crashes through their world anyway. By then, it's usually too late. You see this everywhere. People scroll endlessly, looking for something to distract them from the discomfort of their own thoughts. They chase trends, repeat slogans, and post filtered versions of their lives, hoping it will fill the emptiness. But deep down, most know something is missing. Nietzsche believed that the only way out of this trap is to develop a taste for truth, even when it hurts. What hurts you is often what reveals you. Most people avoid pain like it's poison. But Nietzsche saw pain as a mirror, the only one that reflects who you truly are. To live is to suffer. To survive is to find meaning in the suffering. What you fear reveals what you're attached to. What breaks you reveals what you've neglected. What you fight reveals who you think you are. Yet most people try to silence pain instead of listening to it. They medicate, avoid, distract, but pain just waits and grows. Eventually, it forces a confrontation. Nietzsche didn't believe in running from pain. He believed in walking straight into it. Only by facing it can you become stronger than what hurt you. Most people only learn this after losing years avoiding what they needed to face. Think about the last time you were hurt by a person, a failure, or even by your own choices. Did you try to numb it, or did you ask what it was trying to teach you? Nietzsche believed that pain is the universe's way of waking us up. It's not the enemy, it's the messenger. The crowd is rarely right, but always loud. There's something seductive about the crowd. It gives you identity, purpose, certainty. But Nietzsche warned, the crowd is not wise, it's just loud. It doesn't think, it reacts, it doesn't question, it repeats. He wrote, insanity in individuals is something rare, but in groups, parties, nations, and epochs, it is the rule. Most people realize too late that they built their lives on the approval of people who were just as lost as they were. If you want a life that's truly yours, you'll have to disappoint the crowd. Most aren't brave enough until their time runs out. It's easy to get swept up in what everyone else is doing. You see friends chasing the same goals, buying the same things, measuring themselves by the same yardsticks. But the crowd's approval is fickle. The moment you step out of line, you'll feel it. The pushback, the criticism, the subtle pressure to return to the fold. Nietzsche believed that true individuality means risking rejection. It means being willing to walk alone, even when everyone else is marching the other way. Kindness without strength makes you a target. You were probably told to be nice, polite, agreeable. But Nietzsche didn't glorify blind kindness. Without strength, kindness becomes weakness. Predators don't respect kindness, they exploit it. The weak are always forced to lie. Without strength, you can't afford honesty. You suppress your needs, hide your boundaries, shrink your voice, all in the name of peace. But peace without power isn't peace, it's submission. Kindness with strength changes lives. Kindness without it gets used, discarded, forgotten. Look at your own life. How many times have you said yes when you wanted to say no? How often have you stayed silent to keep the peace, only to feel resentment growing inside you? Nietzsche believed that true kindness is only possible when you have the strength to set boundaries, to say no, to stand up for yourself and others. Otherwise, your kindness becomes a mask you wear to avoid conflict, and eventually, it becomes a prison. Which of these truths have you already learned the hard way? Your story might be the insight someone else needs. Discipline isn't motivation, it's self-respect. Most people chase motivation like it's a magic key, but Nietzsche would laugh. Discipline isn't about hustle culture, it's about integrity. You brush your teeth not because you're inspired, but because it's who you are. Discipline is acting from your values, even on the hard days. Most people think they have a motivation problem. What they really have is a respect problem. Think about the goals you've set and abandoned. Was it because you didn't care, or because you were waiting for the right feeling? Nietzsche believed that action rooted in values, regardless of mood, is the foundation of a meaningful life. When you respect yourself, you do what must be done, even when it's hard. That's discipline. People support you until your growth threatens their identity. Everyone loves your improvement as long as you don't surpass them. Your growth forces others to confront their own stagnation. When you set boundaries or chase ambition, some people won't celebrate. They'll distance themselves. That's not your fault. It just means you've stopped shrinking for their comfort. Notice how relationships shift when you start changing. The people who truly care about you will adapt and grow with you. The ones who only like the old version of you will try to pull you back. Nietzsche believed that outgrowing relationships is a natural part of becoming yourself. It's painful, but necessary. Your shadow will sabotage you if you ignore it. Everyone has a shadow, the hidden self you were told not to show. Suppressing it only makes it stronger. Real strength comes from integrating your shadow, not hiding it. Once it's seen, heard, understood, it stops being a monster. It becomes your ally. Think of your shadow as the parts of you you're ashamed of, the impulses you deny, the feelings you suppress. Nietzsche, and later Jung, believed that facing your shadow is essential for wholeness. The more you ignore it, the more it controls you from the background. But when you bring it into the light, you gain power over it, and over yourself. You can't think clearly if you're always pleasing everyone. People-pleasing isn't generosity. It's fear in disguise. The more you please others, the less they see you. To know yourself, you must risk disappointing others. Most people train others to love their performance, not their truth. Ask yourself, when was the last time you said what you really thought, even if it meant someone might not like you? Nietzsche believed that authenticity requires courage. The price of being real is sometimes being alone, but the reward is finally being seen for who you are. Which truth hit you hardest so far? This is a space for people who want more than surface-level advice. Share your thoughts. You can still feel empty after doing everything right. Society teaches, check the boxes, get the degree, land the job, find the partner, then happiness will follow. Nietzsche saw the hollowness behind these promises. You can follow every rule and still end up living someone else's idea of meaning. The way out isn't more effort or more success. It's asking, what's mine to do? Many people reach a point where they've done everything right, but still feel a quiet ache, a sense that something is missing. Nietzsche believed that fulfillment comes not from external achievements, but from living in alignment with your own truth. That means questioning the path you're on and having the courage to change direction if it isn't yours. Meaning is rare, and attention is a poor substitute. We live in a world addicted to being seen, likes, views, shares, but attention is cheap. Meaning is sacred. Nietzsche would say, meaning comes from what you see when you're alone, from doing work that aligns with your essence, even if no one notices. It's tempting to measure your worth by external validation, but Nietzsche warned that this is a trap. True meaning is quiet, often invisible to others, but unmistakable to you. It's the sense of purpose that comes from living authentically, not from performing for an audience. Death doesn't steal, it clarifies. Nietzsche didn't fear death. He saw it as a clarifying force. If you had to live this exact life over and over for eternity, would you? Death strips away the noise, the excuses, the delay. It asks, are you living or just continuing? When you remember that your time is limited, your priorities shift. The small annoyances, the petty arguments, the endless striving for approval, they lose their hold on you. Nietzsche believed that facing mortality is the ultimate wake-up call. It's what makes life precious and urgent. Your freedom will cost you everything that was fake. To become truly free, you have to destroy every illusion that kept you safe. Freedom isn't given, it's taken. And the price is everything that's not real. Most people flirt with freedom, but when the shedding starts, they panic. Until you lose what isn't truly yours, you'll never discover what is. This is the hardest truth of all. Freedom sounds appealing, but it requires letting go of roles, of relationships, of beliefs that once made you feel secure. Nietzsche believed that most people would rather cling to a comfortable lie than risk the pain of liberation. But for those who dare, the reward is a life that finally feels like their own. These are 13 of the most painful and liberating truths people learn too late. Nietzsche didn't share these to shame or scare you. He shared them to awaken you. Every one of these truths is a fork in the road. Ignore them and you drift. Live them and you begin. Maybe you're not ready to change everything yet, and that's okay. Awareness always comes before action. But if even one of these truths shook something loose in you, don't let it fade. Which truth are you still resisting? This is a space for people who want to think deeper, feel stronger, and finally live differently. If you've made it this far, you're already different. Most people turn away from uncomfortable truths, but you're still here, searching, questioning, refusing to settle for easy answers. That's rare, that's powerful, and that's the beginning of real change. So keep asking, keep thinking, and keep challenging the scripts you've been handed. If you're ready to go further, you're not alone. There's a whole community of people out there who want to live with depth, honesty, and courage. Maybe that's the real message Nietzsche wanted us to hear. The path to yourself is hard, but it's the only one worth walking.